Well, that is it for our coverage of the referendum. The media circus is almost at an end, and the sun is beginning to set here on Westminster, and it sets on a Westminster that will never quite be the same again. But we will be back to normal tomorrow at the usual time, 6 a.m. Mark and Rachel on the sofa. Join us then. But for the time being, it's good evening from me. Thank fuck for that. That was worse than a general election. At least in an election, you know what you're voting for. This was just guesswork. Oh, what an odd day. All these politicians walking around with the same look on their face. It's that post-orgasm. I call it the shame, because obviously the only sexual contact I get these days is between myself and my computer. But you know that feeling, you've just finished off, you look round, you realise the dog has been watching the whole sordid act, he's looking at you all sort of, and then suddenly your mum or Evan Davis is Skyping, and before you know it, you've answered, and you're chatting away, and you've got jizz all over your hands, and you just feel disgusting. And that is how Westminster feels today, just this air of post-wank shame. Doesn't matter what side you're on, because, you know, I mean, the whole thing was always going to be a lose-lose situation, and of course the biggest loser was political integrity. The whole of Westminster just needs a Kleenex, just needs to mop up after itself over the last couple of months. It needs, just get the Febreze out, change the sheets, pretend the whole thing didn't happen. It was just a dream. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Boris Johnson on the hustings mumbling something about selling chocolate cake to France. It was just a weird dream. And then suddenly Bob Geldof turned up, and he was chasing Nigel Farage down the Thames on a boat. It was just a dream. And then suddenly you're watching Question Time, but it isn't Question Time because it's at Wembley Arena. But instead of it being McBusted with 20,000 screaming girls, it's David Dimbleby with 20,000 screaming racists. It's just a dream. It didn't happen. And what definitely didn't happen is no one used the murder of an MP to persuade others to vote one way or the other. That didn't happen because that would be morally repugnant. Oh, you'd be hard-pressed to find an MP who didn't have some sense of shame today, whether it be Corbyn on the left, you know, totally abandoning their principles to support the EU, or the right, just shit-slinging. They were just fucking slinging shit, weren't they? Corbyn, well, I'm sort of having a go. He did all right, because he sort of kept his mouth shut, didn't he? Of course he hates the EU, but he had to pretend to be pro-Remain so that his party didn't collapse like a shit souffle. Whereas the Tories, it's like end of days. Today it's like the end of a Greek tragedy. There is blood and bodies everywhere. The whole of Westminster is just covered in blood, shit and jizz. It's dripping off Big Ben. And the irony is, I should enjoy the result, because I should enjoy looking at David Cameron's stupid, shocked, defeated face. But the problem is that I'm just shitting my pants about who's going to replace him. Luckily, no one can smell the shit in my pants, because the whole place smells of shit and jizz and blood. So, what's my call time tomorrow, Tim? 5:30 a.m. Well, the referendum's over, but the fun never stops, does it? The glamour.